I'm going to call this a Too Boldly Pod short episode with a wink and a nod to the short. Why do I wink and nod at that? Because people that have been listening to this podcast at any point over the past 10 years will realize that I can take anything and turn it into a half-hour podcast without even trying. I guess that's my superpower or something. I don't know. But for all intents and purposes, I have two videos that I want to stitch that sort of encapsulate a thought process that I have been wanting to come on here and talk about over the past couple of months, as a matter of fact. And I think since 2026 has started and I've gained a wider audience by expanding this to video as well as audio, it's a perfect time to come on here and talk about it. And a lot of it stems from, more times than not, I get DMs from people that watch or listen. And they ask me, dude, you act like you're this believer in the paranormal, but all of your podcasts seem like you're always debunking everything, or at least you tend to lean towards debunking everything. You don't believe anything. So what is it? And if, like I said, if you've listened to this podcast at all over the past 10 years, you will realize that I have talked ad nauseum about this middle ground that I think everybody should be on. Because on one side, there's the absolute believers, people that will believe everything without a single shred of evidence. They automatically believe it. And then on the other side are what I call the professional skeptics, that no matter how much evidence, incontrovertible evidence you can show them, they're not going to buy or believe in the possibility. We all should be in that middle ground where we should demand proof like the skeptics do, and any sort of belief system that we may lean towards, we should be on that side as well, but we should demand some plausible evidence to our belief system to sort of quantify it, if you will. But these two videos that I'm going to show perfectly encapsulate that, because specifically here in this modern era of short form videos from TikTok and Reels, you get a lot of stuff out there that are just flat out, specifically the last couple of years. They, more things than not, are AI generated. So they don't have any shred of credibility whatsoever. And whether it's people making them just to get people to like and view their page, I can't answer that. I'm not every person. I tend to believe that, but again, go back to my middle ground here. I don't have any evidence to that. It just appears to be that way. But there are other people that come on with and spout a belief system one way or the other, and then flat out show you things that aren't what they're trying to convey them to be. That is what we're going to talk about today. The people that are showing stuff, trying to get people to watch, drawing on a belief sector to watch their page, and then peddle them something that isn't exactly what they're trying to peddle. Now, I want to say this right up front before we start. Both of these stitches are by the same content provider. I didn't single him out for any reason other than both of his videos fit what I want to talk about. So let us continue.
Paranormal fact number one: if you see something like this in your child's nursery, get your child out. Since the advancement of technology, we're able to talk to people like right now all over the world.
So far, he is absolutely 100% spot on.
As parents, you're able to put cameras and audio recording devices in your child's bedroom or nursery just to make sure they're doing okay. And that's great most of the time. Sometimes you will pick things up that you probably wish you hadn't. Before I show you what a follower of mine sent to me, I want to explain something. This is going to hurt some people's feelings, and
Here it comes.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Some people think it's a comforting thought, and I guess it is, that our past loved ones look in on us and on our children. But biblically speaking, that's not accurate. However, God and angels and Jesus do watch over our children and us.
Biblically speaking, God and angels and Jesus watch over us. So he's about to show us something that I'm going to let him explain what it is that he thinks he sees in this. But just saying that statement is alienating billions with a B of people on this planet, because there are billions of people that aren't Christians. They're not Jewish. They don't have the same belief systems as he is representing here. They don't believe in God or angels or Jesus. I think it's just they don't believe it. They might have their own religion. They might not have any religion at all. But if they do, they certainly don't believe in God or Jesus or angels. So to say that his belief system is the master of every person is an assumption that he is peddling onto people.
But what this person captured was not a deceased relative. As you can tell, this thing, whatever this thing is, well, I know what it is. It's a demon.
So he's going to blow it up in a second when he continues to talk so you can see the full picture of it. But this is taken from a nanny cam, and he's stating that it's not a ghostly figure, it's a demon. But let him continue.
Because ghosts are not real. It looks very wrong. Notice the legs just look weird. These parents said this was not anyone in their household, but they caught this thing creeping through their baby's nursery. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you've ever seen anything like this, I want to know about it. Have a great day. God bless.
Now, go back to a couple things that he said there. A, it's a demon. Nothing in this picture says to me that this is a demon. He said, look at the legs. To me, if you look down to where the legs might be, it would appear on first glance that it's a lady in a dress. But you have to take a lot of things into consideration. And this is where that middle ground comes to mind. You have to stop and think, what kind of nanny cam were they using? Did it have night vision? Did it have good night vision? Was it an older version that maybe didn't have quite as good night vision, so you weren't getting a true night vision shot? So maybe this is just a trick of the camera, because when you go to night vision, the pixelation gets really faulty on the exposure. So you have to ask all those questions. You can't just automatically look at this picture and say, yeah, in his case, this is a demon. To me, if I look at it offhand and just look at it and say it looks like an older lady leaning over the crib into the crib. So people might think it's an old deceased loved one visiting their grandchild or something like that. I don't see at any way, shape, or form where he says it looks like a demon. Because to me, like I said, it looks on appearance like an older lady in a dress. Can't necessarily even say older lady, just looks like somebody in a dress. So to put his bias into what he's stating, that it's a demon, that's not a paranormal investigator, which he claims to be, which he said earlier in this video that ghosts aren't real, they're all demons. But yet, a lot of his videos, he will talk about all of these creatures and whatnot in Appalachia that are all of these demonic creatures. And he got known as a paranormal or a ghost hunter. But now he's flipped. And I'm assuming he's just doing that for shock value, which we're going to find out in the next video. But I don't see anywhere where this looks like a demon whatsoever. As far as the next video goes, I kind of did some editing work on that one to where people might, well, just put it this way. I'm going to show you his whole video the first time with limited my interruption. And then I replay the important part of the video with some enhancements again.
This demonic possession got so bad, they had to call the police. And it's all on video. What I'm about to show you is actually pretty terrifying, and I believe it is 100% authentic. People don't truly understand what happens to a person when they become possessed. As you'll see in this video that I encourage you to watch all the way to the end, the police were actually terrified. Check this out.
Jezu, jak to Oda tak warczy? Ja pierdzielę.
Kurwa, tak?
No, totalnie.
Pierdolę, ja dostaję tylko 5000 zł, kurwa, tam. Idź tam do...
Uważaj.
Kamilka! Kamila!
Ona jest nad nami u góry, od góry coś...
I don't know who did the translation on that video, but I think they did it making up names to get people to buy in more. By calling the one police officer Damien, you makes people immediately think the Exorcist. And as the content provider stated there at the beginning, he believes this to be a demonic entity caught on film. Well, no, it's not. And if you would do any semblance of investigation into this video, you would find, without that much work like I did, of the actual video from over 10 years ago, of this video that got posted by somebody else claiming that it was a creature in a closet, not a demonic figure or not somebody getting possessed by an exorcist or an exorcism or whatever. And the police had to be called in. This, anyways, what I did is I will show you the actual video. It still has the silly translations, and I don't have the knowledge to translate it myself. I suppose I could have if I'd have put it in an AI generator, but I didn't feel like going that far.
Jezu, jak to Oda tak warto?
Mama.
Ja pierdzielę.
No, pierdolę. Co tu się dzieje? No kur... Słyszysz? Weź do ojczyzny, kurwa, tak?
No, totalnie.
Pierdolę, ja dostaję tylko 5000 zł, kurwa, ten. Idź tam do...
Now, one thing you will notice that the female voice and the police officers' voices don't match. You can tell that the female voice sounds like added after the fact because they don't have the same surrounding voice. Because if you talk in the same room, you're going to have the same echo effect. Whereas the female voice at the beginning sounds a lot like it's in a different controlled room, as opposed to you can hear the police officers talking and how their voices resonate on the surroundings in that room. And then you heard the scream there a few minutes ago, but we'll continue.
Uważaj.
Now, keep in mind that stick that police officer is holding, because we're going to get back to that in a second.
Kamila!
Ona jest nad nami u góry, od góry coś
Okay, before we continue, I cut out the pertinent part of the last section of the video and slowed it down for slow motion. And I'll explain to people, and I also muted it so you don't have to hear the people talking. But what this is, it's not somebody possessed by a demon. And if you'd done any research before he posted this video, he'd have learned that this was police called into a house because of a wild animal that got into these people's houses and barricaded into that closet, and the police were there trying to get it out. Do I have proof of that? Yes, I do. Because you're going to see the huge claws of this cougar poke out from the top of the doorway in just a minute. It happens really quick, and that's why they have that prod in their hand. So I slowed it down so everybody could see. But you're going to see, watch towards the top of the doorway, and you're going to see them right there pop out ever so quickly. So I'll back it up just so everyone can see it again. Right there. So yeah, it's not somebody that is possessed by a demon like the content provider tried to claim. So why would he do that? I don't know, because if you watch the video and even do cursory investigation into that video, you would learn that it was a wild animal that got into their house, and that's why the police were there. But since he peddles the whole Christianity, God, and the devil in a lot of his videos, he used it for people, like minded people, I might add, to watch it and believe that it's somebody that was being possessed and they had to call the police. That, in essence, doesn't help things of the paranormal and fringy variety. It hurts it more so. That's why people in the mainstream laugh at UFO sightings and ghostly sightings and make fun of it. It's not because they don't necessarily believe it. It's because it's easier to make fun of it and get cheap laughs at it. People may believe it or they may not believe in the paranormal. And that's why I say we should all be on that middle ground and demand more evidence, more proof, more substantiation, as opposed to just peddling flat out falsehoods trying to get clicks and likes. It's as simple as that. That's why I do this podcast. I will call something that I believe, but I will also call stuff that I think is utterly fake. I don't have a closer for this, so I'll simply close with it is or it is not. It's up to us to decide.